Godhead, Vasudeva. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udiraye. Before reciting Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Sri Vyasadeva, the author of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. By regular attendance in the classes on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Guruve Gaur Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Namo Pankajanaphaya Namo Pankajamaline Namo Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangri. Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, thank you so much for joining. We are reading Granth-Raj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the unalloyed, pure, transcendental, ripened fruit of all the Vedic literatures. What a great blessing, isn't it? So we completed chapter 12 yesterday. So we will start with a new chapter that is entitled The Behavior of a Perfect Person. Chapter 13, Canto 7, Chapter 13. Let's read the summary and then we will go in the verses. Kashish Mata, do you want to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Tanvat Pranam. Sure.
Yes, please.
Chapter 13. The Behavior of a Perfect Person. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This 13th chapter describes the regulative principles for sannyasis and also describes the history of an avadhuta. It concludes with a description of perfection for the student in spiritual advancement. Sri Narada Muni has been describing the symptoms of various ashramas and varnas. Now, in this chapter, he specifically describes the regulative principles to be followed by sannyasis. After retiring from family life, one should accept the status of vanaprastha, in which he must formally accept the body as his means of existence, but gradually forget the bodily necessities of life. After vanaprastha life, having left home, one should travel to different places as a sannyasi. Without bodily comforts and free from dependence on anyone with respect to bodily necessities, one should travel everywhere, wearing almost nothing or actually walking naked. Without association with ordinary human society, one should beg alms and always be satisfied in himself. One should be a friend to every living entity and be very peaceful in Krishna consciousness. A sannyasi should travel alone in this way, not caring for life or death, waiting for the time when he will leave his material body. He should not indulge in unnecessary books or adopt professions like astrology, nor should he try to become a great orator. He should also give up the path of unnecessary argument and should not depend on anyone under any circumstances. He should not try to allure people into becoming his disciples just so that the number of his disciples may increase. He should not give up the habit of reading many books as a means of livelihood, and he should not attempt to increase the number of temples and mathas or monasteries. When a sannyasi thus becomes when just a moment when a sannyasi thus becomes completely independent, peaceful, and equipoised, he can select the destination he desires after death and follow the principles by which to reach that destination. Although fully learned, he should always remain silent like a dumb person and travel like a restless child. In this regard, Narad Muni described a meeting between Prahlada and saint person who has adopted the mode of life of a python. In this way, he described the symptoms of Paramhamsa. A person who has attained the Paramhamsa stage knows very well the distinction between matter and spirit. He is not at all interested in gratifying the material senses, for he is always deriving pleasure from devotional service to the Lord. He is not very anxious to protect his material body, being satisfied with whatever he attains by the grace of the Lord. He is completely independent of material happiness and distress, and thus he is transcendental to all regulative principles. Sometimes he accepts severe austerities, and sometimes he accepts material opulence. His only concern is to satisfy Krishna, and for that purpose he can do anything and everything without reference to the regulative principles. He is never to be equated with materialistic men, nor is he subject to the judgments of such men. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for reading. So, in chapter 11, we read about the 4 Varnas. Chapter 12, we read about the ashramas, brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and then comes sannyasa. And that's chapter 13, actually. So, we just read the beautiful summary. And of course, as many things don't apply from the vanaprastha life, we read that. The principles do apply. Simplicity, more dependence on Krishna, less dependence on the body, and less dependence on others. So as we read the verses, we will discuss in more detail. So let's begin this wonderful chapter. Srinarada Uvacha Kalpastva Evam Parivrajya Deha Matra Vasheshitaha Gramika Vidhina Nirpekshascharena Ahim. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Narada Muni said, a person able to cultivate spiritual knowledge should renounce all material connections, and merely keeping the body inhabitable, he should travel from one place to another, passing only one night in each village. In this way, without dependence in regard to the needs of the body, the sannyasi should travel all over the world. So, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, 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 Hare. So I'm going to lock this, and devotees try to join on time, because I don't know why this is happening, but a lot of other people are joining who should not be joining this. Well, let's not say this way, because everyone should join Bhagvatam, but they are not joining for that reason. So, Parivraja means traveling sannyasi. We say, Jai Om Vishnupad Parivrajakacharya Astotra Shri Śrīmad His Divine Grace Abhicharanaravind. So, that's a duty, one of the main duties of sannyasi, that they don't stay at one place. Here it is mentioned, each passing only one night in each village. The principle is to not be attached to either any disciple or any, me mind. Oh, I will go to this disciple because he is more wealthy. Oh, I'll go to this family because they will give more donation. That's not the duty of sannyasi. Sannyasi, the complete duty is to depend on Krishna and renounce the physical attachments, bodily attachments, family attachments. One of the lectures I was hearing is, as per the dictionary, sannyas means social death. So, because one who is connected to Krishna is completely does not need anything else, because that is true happiness. If one has developed that attachment to Krishna, then one is fearful, one is dependent, not dependent on the bodily needs, one is dependent on Krishna, then what else is required? That's the perfection. And one devotee said that everyone must be sannyasi, not by dress, not by the sannyasi danda, but by consciousness. To develop that consciousness, to be more and more attached to Krishna. That should be our goal, irrespective of we are whatever ashrama, varna we may be in. Our goal should be to develop more and more attachment to Krishna and lesser attachment to the bodily necessities, the bodily, oh, my job will save me, oh, my money will save me, oh, my family will save me. At the time, when the time of death will come, ultimately our attachment to Krishna will only save us. Nothing else can save us. So that consciousness is basically sannyasi consciousness. So we should certainly strive for that. Any other comments, thoughts, questions? Okay, let's read the next one. Would someone like to read? Well, it's not read so far.
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Lakshmi Mataji, please.
Thank you. Text 2. Bibiryat yadi ashayu vashaha kaupila achadanam param tayattam na lingat danda adeha anyat kinchit anapallu. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Sri Prabhupada Ki Jai. A person in the renounced order of life may try to avoid even a dress to cover himself. If he wears anything at all, it should be only a lined cloth. And when there is no necessity, a sannyasi should not even accept a danda. A sannyasi should avoid carrying anything but a danda and kamandalu. Yes, Prabhuji, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for reading. Again, the principle applies, the actual, the principle is less bodily things, more spiritual attachment. The word used is kopin, is like a lion cloth for the sannyasis. But that does not mean that, because ours is a preaching mission, we have to always keep in mind. Ours is if one does not wear cloth or wears only kopin, then people may not take it rightly. Civilized people may think, oh, he's such a uncultured person. Some people in India may respect, but most people will think, oh, he's such an uncultured person or matted here, or because they will not be able to relate. They will not be able to seek guidance, except for a few. The majority will say, I don't want to have anything with that person who's not even wearing clothes. I mean, so the point here is simplicity, austerity. Just with the danda, the sannyasi staff, sannyasi in ISKCON, they carry the sannyasi staff. It is called Tridandi sannyasi. You may have Vaishnava sannyasis are also called Tridandi sannyasi. Tri means three, danda means staff or the sannyasi stick. Three dandas means body, mind, and words. Kaya, vacha, manasa. And then if you observe closely, there is a curved, smaller danda. That is called the Atma. On the top, it is covered with the saffron cloth. So my body, my mind, my words, and my whole self, Atma, will bow down unto you, to Shri Guru and Gauranga. So engaging, the whole principle is engaging our body, mind, words, and ourself in Krishna's service. And again, we may not carry the danda, and it's not that all grihasthas will become sannyasis or all grihasthas, but at least we can develop that consciousness to use our body, mind, and words and ourself in the service of the Supreme Lord, in the service of the spiritual master. In that way, even if one is not carrying danda, one is living by those principles. Any other comments in this text or questions?
Yeah, what is Kamandal?
Kamandlu is a water pot, a small water pot.
Okay, whatever.
Mm.
You
Yes,
know, one thing on the banks of the, in Benares, you see people like that, who are actually very scantily, I mean, just with a loincloth and, I mean, you see, I've seen pictures of that. I have not gone there.
I mean, yeah, I've seen them when I've been to Kumbh Mela or sometimes in Vrindavan also you may see, which is fine. I mean, we have to respect them from a distance. There are Naga Babas who don't wear anything. In Kumbh Mela is a perfect place to see all those kinds of who are devotees in their own way, and we should certainly not disrespect them, but respect it from a distance, because our parampara is different, our mood is different. Prabhupada's mood, Lord Chaitanya's mood is different. Lord Chaitanya also accepted sannyas. Why? For preaching, not to get name fame, but to preaching. And Nityam Prabhu is a famous story, and Prabir Prabhu shared. He broke his danda. He said, you are the Supreme Lord. You don't need this danda and the water pot and all that. But to teach a lesson, he would follow everything strictly. Okay. Any other comments, questions?
So, Prabhuji, one thing that here the third line, a sannyasi should not even accept a danda, but and then should avoid carrying anything but a danda and kamandalu. Not accepting and then again danda and kamandalu.
This is a Chinte Bheda Veda.
It's okay, Prabhuji. I just want to if anything inside.
Yes.
Prabhu Dandavats. If we have to read it like this: sannyasi should not even accept a danda, but if he accepts a danda, then he should only carry danda and kamandalu. That's it.
Thank you, Mataji.
Back to you.
In the Bhagavad Subodhani, it is mentioned, when there is no necessity, you should not even accept a danda. That's mentioned here. But again, this is, in our ISKCON, yes, sannyasis, most sannyasis carrying a danda. But sometimes the danda may become an obstacle. In the flights, they may not allow to enter with a danda, and it may create more problem. So in that situation, okay. The point is how it will facilitate bhakti more. No. I will carry my danda because the danda is my, my image or then that danda becomes an obstacle. But if one is completely Kṛṣṇa conscious, okay, where in their places, like I've seen many sannyasis, especially if they go to, places like Kumbh Mela and Rishikesh, etc., they will all carry danda. Because people can, not give respect to them, but respect the parampara. Otherwise, they will think, oh, he's, like Lord Chaitanya. People take him for granted until he took sannyas. But in the Western countries, you may see many sannyasis may not carry danda, because people may not know what is this odd man carrying a danda. Is he going to hit us with this? Or we may get scared. I mean, so time, place, situations. The point is, yes, sometimes may accept a danda, sometimes may not accept a danda. The goal is how it will facilitate bhakti more.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, one small comment.
Yes, please.
So, Vipul Prabhu, I think you're a doctor, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just ask the question. He asked the question, right?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. There is one very nice pastime in this regard. When Garuda Prabhu told His Holiness Hridayananda Goswami, why are you carrying this danda? The age of the danda of this right now, Kali Yuga, or this time in history, is having a doctor's degree. That's the danda, because people will bow down at your feet if you accept, if you have doctor's degree, Prabhu. Back to you, Hare Krishna. So time, place, and circumstances, like Shubhala's going through has been saying, what people respect to.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay. Looks like few devotees have raised their hand to read, I believe. So, Jyoti Mataji, you want to read?
Prabhuji, a small clarification, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, now what we are reading, this is applicable for sannyasis in all sampradaya? Like in any sampradaya, if one is going to be a sannyas, they have to follow all these rules?
Actually, as I said, the principles, like in ISKCON, you will not see sannyasis with just loincloth. You will not see some of them you may see without danda, and hardly I've not seen anyone carrying a kamandalu. But the principles we have to see. And as we discussed for vanaprastha, matted hair and all. So the externals you will not see. Was that your question?
Yes, Prabhuji, I was trying to ask at that time, like not a recent time I'm asking. Like in India, like many years before, and people are seriously taking sannyas. Since it was written for India, I'm thinking like that. Did everybody follow the same in different sampradayas? Did they follow the same principle?
It's quite hard to say. I mean, at this point, because first of all, it is Sanatan Dharma. Like, at what point things started to go in the different direction, or at what point the system was followed, it's hard to say. 1,000 years back, or 5,000 years back, or it's a little hard to say actually. I don't have any like clear information in that regard, but the principle is how it applies now. So unless anyone else wants to share any other comments.
So Mataji, in Kumara Sampradaya, they don't even wear clothes. So that's one of the bona fide sampradayas, and I have not seen anybody carry danda in that sampradaya. Back to you, Prabhu.
Yes. Ramanacharya used to carry danda. We have seen multiple pictures, and even his DT, I think the DT which was made has the danda. He would certainly carry that. So
yes, even the Chinnajiyar Swami, who is in that lane, they even today, even when he comes to US, or as you said, every sampradaya, every guru is little different. They still carry danda. Actually, as you said in last year. Yeah.
Most ISKCON sannyasis carry danda as well, but based on time, place, situation, they may not carry sometimes. Okay, let's read next verse. Yes, Jyoti Mataji, you can read.
Hare Krishna, Dandat pranams to all the devotees. Text 3. Eka eva charet bhikshur atma ramo anapashrayah sarvabhuta sruhuchanto narayana parayanah. Translation by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charna Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The sannyasi, completely satisfied in the self, should live on alms, beg from door to door. Not being dependent on any person or any place, he should always be a friendly well-wisher to all living beings and be a peaceful, unalloyed devotee of Narayana. In this way, he should move from one place to another. Thank you, Prabhuji. Back to you. Hare Krishna.
This has a really long.
So many nice qualities are mentioned actually in this text. Completely satisfied in the self. It's a great quality. Living on the arms, begging door to door. Again, this may not be so practical in today's day and age, but ultimately dependence is on Krishna. Not relying, Krishna will arrange, having faith. Not dependent on any person or place. Oh, I will go to this disciple because he is wealthy. Or I'll go to this family because they serve nice kachoris. No, that's not the mood of a sannyasi. But at the same time, he is very friendly, well-wisher to all living beings. Dhira, adhira, priya jano. Whether one is gentle or ruffian. The sannyasis is they are genuine well-wishers for everyone. Because they have nothing to do with, all they have to do is to help the other person. Why do we become friends or enemies? When there is some hidden motives. When the only motive is to help the person, we will not be enemies with anyone. Why do we become enemies? When our desires are not fulfilled. Simple. But when the only desire is to serve them or to help them, then how can a person be anyone's enemy? They are friendly. They are suhrita sarva bhutana. When the desires are not fulfilled, or someone said harsh words, oh, I was not expecting harsh words. Why did that person say harsh words to me? I will tit for tat. But sannyasis are the genuine well-wishers. They only want to give. They only want to give Krishna consciousness. And unalloyed devotee of Lord Narayana. Each and every word is very important. Unalloyed means free from any other desires. Not being a devotee to get disciples, not being a devotee to get more recognition, puja, labh, pratishtha, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, opposite sex, wealth, beauty, name, fame, recognition. This is not why a person takes sannyas. They take sannyas to help others, to help the masses, to share Krishna consciousness. And in this way they travel place to place. Why? Why do they travel? Why did Prabhupada travel at such a difficult age? 70 years old is not easy. Right, Raghu Prabhu? Can you share your experience? Do you feel 70 years age is easy? What do you think? Like, would it be easy for you to travel just by yourself with nothing in your pocket?
I have to do it, but it's not easy because you've got to prepare a lot. You've got to plan a lot. You've got to make sure that your whole trip, everything is arranged from beginning to end practically.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's not easy. And the diet and everything, all that comes into play.
Yes. One time Bhakti Charu Maharaj said this. Do you know what Prabhupada has done for you? Some devotees were thinking, this is an open class. Someone thinking, yeah, he has done a lot of sacrifice, and certainly a few days back was Prabhupada's the anniversary, the day Prabhupada started his journey to US at the age of almost 70 years in a Jaladuta ship, cargo ship, not in a cruise ship, not in a first class flight or even an economic class flight. It took almost 1 month. Heart attacks, hardship, seasickness, so much torture, so much difficulty, and no one to help. Complete dependence on Krishna. So back to Bhakti Charu Maharaj's lecture. He said, do you know what Prabhupada has done for you? Devotees were thinking, yes, he's given us books, he's done a lot for us, he's done a lot. And some said a few comments. And then he again asked, do you know what Prabhupada has done for you? And then finally he said, well, none of us know actually what Prabhupada has done for us. Because we are in 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever our age is. When we come to 70, then we will really value what Prabhupada has done. For a 70-year-old person to run an international society for Krishna consciousness with no resources, no friends, no such harsh weather, he didn't know whether to turn left or to turn right. traveling place to place, moved around the world 12 times. Very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. Only an empowered soul like Prabhupada could do that. So, place to place, moving, not for his own self, but to please Guru and Krishna, to share Krishna consciousness, the unalloyed devotion, pure bhakti message. Any other comments, questions anyone has? Okay, Ramesh Prabhuji, you want to read? Or
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Text number 4. Tashet Atmani Ado Vishwa Pare Sadasto Veye Atmanam Cha Param Brahma Sarvatra Sadasammaye. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The sannyasi should always try to see the Supreme pervading everything and see everything, including this universe, resting on the Supreme. So back to you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
thank you, Prabhuji. स्थावर जंगम ना देखी देखी तारा मूर्ति सर्वत्र होए इष्ट देव स्फूर्ति. They don't see sthavar or jangam. Sthavar means stationary, like trees or some non-living objects, mountain. They don't move. Jangam means moving, animals, birds, human beings, etc. They try to see Ishtadev Spurti. They see Krishna, the hand of the Supreme Lord, including the universe, everything. It's a beautiful creation. Creation implies creator. So they understand, a pure devotee understands that everything, Maya Adhyakshina Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam, whether living, chara, or achara, non-moving. Maya Adhyakshina Prakriti, it is the divine energy. It is the energy, it is the hand of the Supreme Lord. Nothing can work without his intervention. So they have that consciousness. Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastina Shunicheva Shupakeva Pandita Samadarshina. They see everyone with equal vision because they are seeing Krishna. They are seeing the hand of the Supreme Lord in every aspect of life. Because their eyes are anointed with love. Premanja Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santai Sadeva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yamashama Sundara Guna Swarupam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. One whose eyes, let's say if I'm having clear glasses, so I'm seeing, the object in its true color. But if I wear blue glasses, what will be the even a white object appear to me? It will appear blue. But if I wear yellow glasses, my lenses are yellow, a white object would appear yellow. Very simple. Is it the problem with the object? No, the object has not changed. What has changed? My perception, my vision to see that has changed. So similarly, one who has anointed one's eyes with the love of God, and that's not a mechanical process. Love of Godhead balm, apply in the eyes and get it. It is the sincerity of the devotee. It is the pure bhakti. It is the sincerity, seriousness in Krishna consciousness with which one can apply that Premanja Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. Then one will see Krishna and hand of Krishna in every aspect. That's what these great sannyasis, the title of the chapter, Perfect Person. Any other comments? Questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I would like to add, as we are seeing the quality of the sannyasi, we can consider the example of Bharat when Lord Ram went to 14-year Vanvasa. At that time, Bharata rejected the ground of Ayodhya and he stayed in the Nandigram and observed all the rules and regulation as one sannyasi do, so that we can take example to practice in our life also. Because in the fifth canto we have seen that the material world is the forest of enjoyment, and this is called like aranya. So if we keep that in mind and do the Krishna consciousness practices, that will be helpful in our devotional progress. That is my thought, Prabhu. Back to you. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mataji. Thank you. Okay, let's read one more verse for today and then we will pause. Would someone like to read, please? Anyone? Prabhu?
Sure. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Text 5. Supti prabodhaya sandha atmana gotim atmadrik Pushyan bandham cha moksham cha maya matram na bostuta. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. During unconsciousness and consciousness, and between the two, he should try to understand the self and be fully situated in the self. In this way, he should realize that the conditional and liberated stages of life are only illusory and not actually factual. With such a higher understanding, he should see only the absolute truth pervading everything. Purport. The unconscious state is nothing but ignorance, darkness, or material existence. And in the conscious state, one is awake. The marginal state between consciousness and unconsciousness has no permanent existence. Therefore, one who is advanced in understanding the self should understand that unconsciousness and consciousness are but illusions, for they fundamentally do not exist. Only the supreme absolute truth exists. As confirmed by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita 9.4, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktamurtina matstani sarva bhutani natcha hamtesya avastitaha. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Everything exists on the basis of Krishna's impersonal feature. Nothing can exist without Krishna. Therefore, the advanced devotee of Krishna can see the Lord everywhere without illusion. Hare Krishna. So here Srila Prabhupada is explaining that three stages, three different conditions, not stages. One is unconscious state, which there is darkness, ignorance, or material existence. Means this kind of consciousness is that we are the product of material energy. Means ultimately it means that we are the body. That is the kind of thinking. And in the conscious state, one is awake. So the conscious state is, we can feel like that, okay, we are the soul. And the marginal state, we can go in both directions. So Prabhupada is saying here, these are not permanent existence. So what is our permanent existence? Our permanent existence is we are not only the soul, but we are the servant of the servant of Gopi Bhartu Pada Kamalayar Dasha Dasanu Dasha, or Jiver Shorupai Krishna Nitya Das. So that is our permanent existence. So like until we get into that existence is going to be, we are going to like back and forth. And then Prabhupada is explaining, and we read that in the last chapter, if you remember in text 14 or 15, there is a, where Krishna's personal form of Prabhishta and his impersonal form, which is going to like each and every atoms, that was Prabhishta. So, and Prabhupada also quoted the same verse, Maya tatamidam sarvang jagat avyakta muktina matstanip sarvabhutani natchahantesya avastita. Means he is in his unmanifested form, the entire universe is pervaded. But its personal form is also there, which is not. And there is no difference between Kṛṣṇa, and we discussed other day, Prashant Mukund Prabhu very nicely explained that Krishna's expansions, so nicely explained that, and here, if you remember that Prabhuji's explanations, and even starting from Kṛṣṇa and since expansions, there is no difference. So that verse, I couldn't remember the other day, and then I looked at in Brahma Samhita, it says Dipachirahi, that verse, where it says that all of, it's like a candle, but there is one candle, all the candles are lighted from one candle, but there is no difference between them. So here Prabhupada is explaining that in I think it's last chapter, in text 15, Prabhupada said that in his original form has not entered everything, that is aprabhishta, but is in the impersonal form he has entered and prabhishta. So that's my understanding, Prabhu. Please explain or correct more.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Ultimately, everyone is a child of God. We just have forgotten that. So that's not our real nature, and at some point one will realize that. Now the question may come, okay, if it's not the true thing, and this is not the fact, that means everyone at some point will realize, then why should we worry about outreach? Why should we invite people to come for Janmashtami? Everyone is a child of God. That is the true nature. Why should we ask devotees, please come, chant, please, do some service, please chant, read Bhagavad Gita, retake a book. Why should we do that then? Any thoughts? Is the question making sense? Any thoughts, or you would like to say something on that?
Sorry, Prabhu, missed the first part. The question I missed.
This verse says that the conditional or the liberated states are only illusory and not factual. Whatever consciousness, supti, prabodha, sandhava, that's not the true nature of a living entity. It's a temporary conditioning. Then why should we preach? Why should we worry about people who are in wrong consciousness, sleeping consciousness, to wake them up? Why Lord Chaitanya is saying, Jiva Jago, wake up from the sleeping state. Come up to the state of rising. If everyone is in that state, or if everyone will eventually come to that state. Is the question making sense now?
Yes, Prabhu.
Who would like to answer? Please raise your hands. Please share one or two points. Yes, Nandini Mataji, you were speaking something?
Yes, Prabhu. So Yes, consciousness and unconsciousness are but illusions, but to come out of that illusion also we need chanting. Chanting is our eternal connection to Lord. So it's that's what will wake us up finally. It's my understanding. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Anyone else?
Practice, Prabhu. The practice will bring us back. Otherwise, we'll be again in the unconscious. And as we are already in the unconsciousness, majority, I can say myself also.
Practice will bring us back. Okay.
And marginal state, basically, that's where probably in my understanding what we are doing, it's trying to, in the marginal state right now, and the practice probably will help us to go into that awakened state. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice. Anyone else? Yes,
So, Prabhu,
and then Kashish Mataji can speak after you.
So, first of all, our senses, our knowledge, everything is imperfect. Only by associating with the devotees, if we don't associate with the devotees, then even the wrong thing can, to us, it can be look like it's like a mirage. It will make like this is the truth. Like the example is, most of us, we think that this is our body is the main thing. Even in spite of saying, if you ask someone that your someone loved one dead, can you bring them back? But they will agree, but at the same time, because of our imperfect knowledge, imperfect consciousness, imperfect senses, the false become like truth. So by associating with the devotees, those things, as Umesh Prabhu was saying, practicing, gradually those things can be, we can get rid of those things. And so that's one understanding, my understanding, to going to the temple or associating with the devotees.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, Kashish Mataji, you were speaking something?
Yes, Prabhuji, that is the only essence that, we forget the purpose of the human life. We are just covered by Maya that we are involved in all the activities except for the actual purpose, that realization that we are the part and parcel of Kṛṣṇa, and the ultimate purpose is to go back to Godhead. And this only comes when we associate with the Vaishnavas, with the, when we are granted with bhakti and we realize the actual purpose. So that's the main reason that we should go to, temples and, read Bhagavad Gita and do whatever activities that is near to Kṛṣṇa. That's what I understand.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Anyone else wants to share?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So associating with devotees is very important, and Prabhuji says, as well as who are practicing the Krishna consciousness, if they can preach, and there are a lot of unconscious people who are totally forgets Krishna. So bring them to the conscious states is also another very important part of the devotees. And so to please Krishna and to please Guru Gauranga, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Jare Dakho Tare Kaho Krishna Upadesh. So that way spreading the consciousness so benefit for us, also benefit for them who are totally forgetful. Back to you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. All of you made such nice points. So one more point, just I would like to share that yes, it is not the true state. But until one gets the mercy of devotees or Krishna in the form of holy name, prasadam, Bhagavad Gita, etc., one will continue to be in that state of illusion. One will continue to be in that state of supti. or supta, darkness, illusion. If someone is in a bad situation and you happen to be in a better situation, won't you feel compassion? Let's say if you see someone hungry and you have some food, won't you like to share your food with that person? That's a natural situation, a natural compassion. So the outreach aspect comes out of compassion. Why did Prabhupada come? Out of compassion. Why did Lord Chaitanya want to wake up? Out of compassion, because Krishna cannot see his devotee suffering. Will you like, okay, after millions of years they may get, but why do they suffer for millions of years? And we never know, they may not get after millions of years. If after millions of years, also if devotees and a group of devotees sitting like this will think, okay, let them do what they want to do. Let them, after all, ultimately everyone is Krishna's child. So a pure, there are multiple levels. Uttama Bhakta, Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama. Uttamadhikari actually does not think any distinguishing, and he does not distinguish between devotee and non-devotee. Everyone is devotee. So they don't take up the preaching business, because how will someone preach? Because everyone he thinks is devotee. Everyone is a child of God. But in our preaching mission, even one may be Uttam Adhikari like Srila Prabhupada, or pure devotees, the great sannyasis, they're pure devotees, but they still take to the preaching business. Why? Which is the business of a Madhyam Adhikari, out of compassion, because they can't see the suffering of others. Their heart breaks to see people struggling. That's why they want to share the message of Krishna consciousness and help. So now we maybe not be at that level, but we must try our best to be a messenger of Prabhupada's compassion, to be an instrument of Prabhupada's compassion, to be an instrument of Lord Chaitanya's mercy. So in whatever ways we can, through words, through books, through prasadam, through multiple ways are there, we must try our best. Okay, so I guess we will stop here. You're already over time. Thank you so much for joining. We will continue tomorrow, and as I posted already, we will have a quiz tomorrow, which you all like a lot. After our regular reading, we will have a quiz for 11 and 12, which we completed. So please join. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare
Hare Krishna.